Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Izzy. I am here to talk to you about Insecure Episode 5. This is a recap. This is more of a my thoughts thing, actually. I take that back. It's just me talking about how I felt about the episode. Let's get into the courses here. Let's start off with the appetizer, shall we? Nathan. He's back. I knew he was coming back. It just, slowly but surely, he had to kind of creep his way back in there. And it makes sense for him to be in here. I'm not a big fan of Nathan. I'm not. He's not a terrible person. He's not a bad guy. I mean, honestly, all he really did wrong was kind of ghost her. And there's a lot wrong with that. Because you left her hanging. You left her on red. And then you kind of slide back in there like, hey, I know I was gone for a minute. But, so needless to say, I'm not a big fan of Nathan. He's actually back now. We're past his voice. Now we actually see his physical body. He's laying in bed somewhere. At his house. That's the somewhere. I forgot he lives with Andrew, so I forgot all about that. So the line that we saw at the beginning of the first episode where Issa was like, I don't fuck with Molly no more, she was talking to Nathan. And now we know this, now we've seen this play out, and to be quite honest, I'm a little relieved because it's only episode 5, you know what I'm saying? Episode 5, and we get, oh, we heard this in the beginning, and it's only episode 5 in, and we got 5 more left. And you're just now saying this? Okay, cool. There's room for stuff to happen. There's room for a lot of things to happen. And these first 5 episodes, a lot happened. A lot happened. There was a lot of time skips and a lot of time jumps. So, with the remaining 5 that we have left, now I'm curious as to where this is going to go, where this is going to lead. Are we going to have a lot more time jumps with it as well? Because we already went by the last 4 months. So, do we slow down now, or we're going about the same pace, a little slower? Who knows, right? There's hope for the dynamic duo yet, I think. But of course, he has to be so incredibly charming and get on Issa's good side, and they're talking to each other and things like that. I don't want her to end up with Nathan, if I'm being quite honest. Because we still, even though she didn't care anymore, we still don't know why this nigga ghosted in the first place. There's so many theories going around. Maybe he's got warrants. Maybe he's run from the law. Maybe he's got some type of mental illness and anxiety or something like that. There's a lot of things that's been said. And for right now, we don't know. He doesn't seem too emotionally unstable, but I mean, most people who usually are don't. If it was a cop situation, I think it would have been more severe when he got the call, when Issa got the call on where he was at or something like that. So I don't know. And we don't know. We still don't know why he left in the first place, and that's a huge factor. And I feel like in traditional Issa fashion, they're going to get closer again, and it's going to get to the point where she's not going to think about asking him why that happened. It's just going to come back up again. And she's going to be reminded that this nigga ghosted her again. It's going to be something stupid and traumatic, and she's going to be like, what the hell? So, but that's just my thoughts and theories on that. I love the block party. The block party was good. The block party, it turned out to be like really, really good. The white people came, did their thing, ultimate frisbee and stuff like that in the courtyards, people walking around and whatnot. And, as the time got later, niggas started coming out in full force, and that's when it really started to kick up and stuff like that. I enjoyed that very much. The block party was great. It was a whole vibe to that, and I rock with that. I wish we used to have stuff like that out here, but we don't, because I live where we would never have things like that. There's a lot more things I could say, but I'm gonna get into the main course of it all. So, Molly and Issa, they finally had their fallout. They finally had that discussion / fight that should have been had months ago, and unfortunately, it got pushed until it got to a point of no return. And a lot of people might think that Molly is wrong. A lot of people might think Issa is wrong. I am on the fence. I'm not even entirely on the fence. I think both parties were wrong, but I think in this in particular situation, I think Issa was dead wrong. Let me explain. Molly don't ever really ask Issa for much of nothing, not as far as I remember, but what she did ask her for was that she stay out of her relationship, more or less. Like I'm paraphrasing, of course, but I don't want to mess anything up with this relationship. Whether it came up out of nowhere, whether she gave her warning and probably should have gave her a little bit of warning on new boundaries and things like that, give her a little bit more understanding, communicate that a little bit better, something. That's all she asked her to do. And Issa decided to go behind her back and do it anyway. Though it worked out in Issa's favor because without her doing that, the block party probably would have been a bust because she didn't have a headliner. People there were really there to see Vince Staples. And Schoolboy Q if he didn't drop out, which was a whole thing in itself. I guess we're just breezing by the whole legality part of that because they had a contract and he got like partially paid, like on a down payment type deal. We don't really know what happened with that, but that's not important right now, I guess. So, yeah.
Or maybe it is important and it'll come up later.
They finally had their blowout, and it was a tough watch because Issa being that upset for the first time, like we've seen Issa be pissed about stuff, but like not like that. Like that was Hood Issa that came out, and I was kind of like, oh, that's not a version of Issa I would want to personally mess with, because she looked like she was ready to fire off on Molly with the whole
Get your fingers out of my face.
like those are grounds for scraps. Those are grounds for scraps, and Molly wasn't helping the situation. She wasn't making it any better in that moment. Now, let me say these things. So, Molly was wrong for bringing it up in that moment. Her timing with that was not the best because it was Issa's event. She's getting ready to start a fight with Issa at her event, at like the end of her event, if nothing else. Probably not the best time to do that. She really should have waited and listened to everybody around her that was saying, hey, yo, can we not do this right now? Can we not do this right now? Are you really doing this at my thing right now? Everybody's saying this. You really should have listened in that moment. But at the same time, being frustrated in that moment, I can understand why Molly was like, nah, fuck all that. We dealing with this right now because it's been built up so much. We had chances to talk, you opted out. Whether we were feeling each other or not, for however long, we were supposed to talk about this. They both agreed to talk about this. And Issa bailed on her talking to her about it. And she never made plans to keep trying to talk about it. She said, can we talk about it later? Later never came. And if it wasn't Molly that would come up and say anything, she wouldn't have done it at all, at least not anytime soon. And that's not good. How many months was it? 2.5, 3 months went by. They were supposed to have this conversation. That was Thanksgiving. This is New Year now. This is January. This is February. This is January. That much time went by and you guys were supposed to have a serious talk about your friendship being on the rocks and you haven't had it by now? Like, I know she's busy with the block party and everything, and this is where I've been constantly defending Issa against the Molly lovers and stuff like that. She's been working hard on this event. This is all she's doing. This is her life at the moment. She's living and breathing this block party. And if you can't understand that, I don't know what kind of work ethic you have in your personal life, but when you working on something and that's all you thinking about, everything else doesn't matter. Everybody else, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one else matters in that moment. It seems rude and it seems selfish, but honestly, it be like that sometimes because you are focused on this thing that you're doing, because this thing right here is more important to you than anything else. This thing has your undivided attention. And if anybody has ever done that, dealt with that, then you understand what I'm talking about. At least I feel like you should. But her decision to go behind Molly's back and get help anyway from Andrew, from Nathan, whatever, is the sacrifice that she made at the cost of her friendship, which she clearly did not give a fuck about anymore, because she let it be known that she was clear that I've been stopped messing with you. And as a person who's been on the receiving end of that, that is hurtful. That is hurtful. The way Issa felt, not nearly the same as what Molly felt. And Molly was very clear about how she felt when she was talking to Andrew in that scene. She said, I love her, but I just don't like her right now. I think that's super relatable. I think everybody who's been friends with the person can say that about somebody that they've known for a long, long, long time. Like, you can love this person to death. You can say that about a spouse. You can say that about a best friend, whatever. You love this person to death. You would do everything that you can for that person. But right now, in this in particular moment, y'all ain't vibing because you don't really like them right now because they being stupid or whatever the case might be. Like, that's relatable. That's real. That's as real as it gets. Like, that's still my nigga, but I need to take a step back for a second. That's real. That's as real as it gets. It doesn't get any realer than that. And I feel that and I understand that. So to hear your best friend and you still let her know, like, you're still my best friend. Like, I still brought you food. I'm still trying to, like, extend the olive branch to you and, like, make this awkwardness go away, this weirdness go away, and all these other things, whatever. Like, nigga, I still showed up to your event. Lawrence didn't even show up to the event. And I don't know if it was because Condola was going to be there or what, but that's something I want to... We'll explore that option later. I'm not talking about Lawrence right now, not today. But she extended the olive branch to her. She brought her food knowing that she probably didn't eat today because she's been so busy. And after Molly having that conversation with Andrew on the couch and kind of seeing, like, the overall effect of everything, like, yeah, she's been working on all of this. And you sit there and you see it and you're just like, maybe I was a little too harsh on her because she's been working hard to do this. And she actually made this happen. And maybe I was just taking it too personal or I was being too petty, whatever the case might have been in her head in that moment. She was feeling some type of remorse and regret. But she's there, she's trying to make up for it in some way, shape, or form, and she did that, still looking out for her best friend. And then later on to find out that your best friend is like, I've been stopped messing with you. Like, excuse me, what? Like, how dare you? Like, if no one else, nigga, I've been here. I'm here. I've been here for you. Just this one time, I tell you not to do this in particular thing. You just stop. You feel like you can't mess with me no more. Like, sorry to say, y'all.
Issa is a bad friend. Issa's a terrible, terrible fucking friend sometimes.
Issa has helped Molly with the whole Andrew situation. Yes, she has. But you can't compare that situation into all the other situations that Molly has helped Issa out of. She dealt with her in Lawrence. She dealt with her in Daniel. She dealt with her in Nathan. She dealt with Issa in the whole cheating thing. Like that list is way longer, my guy. I hate to say it like that, but it's Issa is a bad friend in comparison to Molly. Nah, man. Nah. Issa was wrong for that. Issa was dead wrong for this. I think a lot of things could have been done differently. Like, maybe instead of just pulling it out of nowhere, knowing that Issa's expecting you to call back about this whole headliner thing, you probably could have been like, hey, yo, we need to set some boundaries because this relationship is important to me. I think Molly probably could have talked to Andrew about this to see where he feels and where he's at. But at the same time, I don't think it would have mattered because whether those were options or not, they didn't happen. And I think it was because there were underlying issues that they hadn't talked about. And that's partially on Issa because she hasn't come back to have this conversation. Yeah, Molly could have brought it up or whatever, but honestly, every time she tried to talk about it, it was always some other bullshit. She tried to talk to her when Issa called. Issa was like, what? Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, I need this favor real quick. Knowing that we haven't talked and, like, squashed this in a minute, like, you say what you want, but I'm sorry. I know it was a lot on both sides. It was a lot on both sides. Both parties were wrong on both sides this entire way through. This entire way through. There was no ways around that. So that's where I stand on it. Quick side note, I'm glad that they're not really touching on it yet. It's getting to that, but Tiffany and this postpartum depression thing is getting real. And I'm not a woman, I'm not a mom, but I've witnessed women who have had postpartum, and that shit is super serious. So the fact that they're going through that and exploring that in these episodes is not necessarily refreshing, but it's important. It's important, and it needs to be out there and addressed and whatnot, especially in our community, you know, black and all. And I don't know what that means for her character because it's affecting both of the parents, and you can see the little leaks from Derek telling the little kids to shut the fuck up. That was great, by the way. I think it's gonna come to a head if she keeps pushing the baby off on him. Like he's being mad supportive right now, as he should. But if she keeps doing that, it's gonna end bad for both of them probably. I mean, who knows what's gonna happen with them? Like we don't really know much about the ins and outs of their relationships. They're always the married couple that, you know, has their personal issues usually kept to themselves. But with this whole postpartum thing, I don't know. Things might get a little public. I like to also point out for the record, I was right. I knew it. I said this to a lot of people, and I am so glad that I'm right. I knew it. Probably not that exact night, but maybe probably that exact night at Thanksgiving. Lawrence, Condola, no more. They are done. Finito. The essence of extinction. I love it. I didn't really like them being together, especially after all of that like weird stuff that was going on. I'm still kind of team Lawrence and Issa, if I'm being honest. Some people don't like that. Some people aren't gonna like it. I don't care. People wanted Daniel to be with Issa, and y'all trash. Heck, most of y'all want the nigga who ghosted her to be with her. Why? For what? Lawrence didn't ghost. You know what Lawrence did? He left a woman who cheated on him. Chill. But now he wants that thing back, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. After all the stuff that he's been through and the people that he's been with and stuff like that, Issa just makes the most sense. But I don't think Issa's going to pick anybody. I don't think she's going to pick a Nathan. I don't think she's going to pick a Lawrence. I think this is going to be strictly about Issa and her friendship with Molly. I think the way things ended with them now, that they're going to have some type of thing where it's this. I think the only way that they're going to come back together again is if something super traumatic happens between one or the other or both, for them to forcibly be put back together and realize how stupid that they're being. I think it's going to be one of those things where something's going to happen with Issa where she realizes like how selfish she's being, blah, 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 and all this other stuff, or somebody else is going to tell her about herself, and she's going to be like, damn, Molly was right. And same thing, vice versa with Molly. Maybe something traumatic and huge, like she's gonna mess things up with Andrew because of, I don't know, Dro. Dro's still a wild card. Let's not forget that. Yeah, he don't really mess with Molly like that right now. Yeah, they kind of had their own little fallout to it and everything, and things have been great with Andrew or whatever. But I feel like it's a calm before the storm. Everything seems like it's going good for Molly right now, but that doesn't mean it's gonna stay like that. And I think Dro coming into the picture again with a new baby and everything like that is going to set some other things off. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe Molly's gonna want kids and things like that, and Andrew does not, and that's gonna like completely push her off, and then she's gonna realize how much Issa's right, and she's miserable, and she can't ever be happy, and she always be finding problems and blah 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 and other stuff like that. I don't know. This is just me making theories and thoughts and stuff like that, but that's just what I think. Who cares? I'm just a black guy. Nobody cares. But that's all I'm going to talk about for today. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new here. Debate me in the comment section. I'm ready for all comers. Big, small, medium, dwarfy, white, black, Asian, Mexican. It doesn't matter. Come for me if you feel the need to. We can talk about this. I got time. You know, quarantine and all. Anyway, thank you guys again. I love y'all. See you next week for episode 6. And until next time, I will be here telling it like it is.